The cold air inside the outpost had a strange bite to it. Commander Jace Oren stood alone in the ruined observation deck of Station Epsilon 9, watching the burning sky of Atheris 4. Fires raged across the horizon. His squad, his friends, and maybe even Earth's hope were gone. The war had come suddenly. First, it was just Whisper's rogue ships vanishing, unknown technology being recovered in deep space. Then came the attack. A fleet with no known markings struck Earth's outer colonies without warning. Their weapons melted steel like paper. Their warriors moved like shadows. No one even knew what species they were. Only one message came through every time: surrender. The human known as Oren. Jace didn't know why. He was just a former engineer turned commander during the last war. He hadn't done anything special, nothing to deserve this kind of attention. But the enemy wanted him. Badly. He was now Earth's most hunted man, and no one could tell him why. Power level at 12%. The AI spoke from the wall. Defensive systems offline, life support minimal. He rubbed a streak of dried blood from his jaw and looked at the cracked reflection in the steel glass. He was tired, starving, alone. That's when he felt it movement behind him, not loud. Just a shift in air, a whisper. But his instincts screamed. He turned, pistol raised, but it was too late. A figure dropped from the ceiling like a shadow. Tall, lean, armored in a sleek dark blue combat suit that shimmered faintly. Her helmet was oval, featureless alien. She moved with deadly grace. And before he could fire, her hand struck, disarming him. The gun clattered. He stumbled back, grabbing a pipe as she lunged again. He swung, missing. She caught his arm mid-swing, twisting his wrist, forcing him to his knees. Her strength was terrifying. He saw the blade in her hand, glowing with some kind of plasma edge. She raised it. He stared up, not afraid, but ready. "Just do it," he said, breathing hard. "I'm tired of running." She paused. The blade hovered just inches from his throat. Then she froze. Her head tilted, just slightly. She seemed confused. He blinked. What, never seen a human beg to die before? Silence. Then the blade slowly lowered. She took a step back. He looked up, shocked. What the hell? She didn't speak. Her helmet clicked, hissed and lifted. Underneath was not the face of a monster. She was beautiful. Silver eyes with a strange glow. Pale violet skin, smooth like glass. Her face was unreadable, but something in her expression had changed. A shift. A question. He stared at her. "You were sent to kill me." She nodded, just once. "So why didn't you?" She looked at him for a long moment. Then, softly, she spoke. "I saw it." He frowned. "Saw what?" She didn't answer. She reached forward, and he flinched, but she didn't strike. Instead, she gently touched a thin, glowing line across his chest, his old scar from the war. Her fingers traced it slowly, like she was reading a language through. "His skin, you carry the mark," she said. "The mark of their enemy." He stared at her, breathing hard. "Whose enemy?" She didn't reply. Instead, she turned away, walking to the window, looking out at the burning sky. Then she said something that chilled him more than the knife at his throat. "This war isn't yours, human. It never was. But you are in the center of it because of what you carry, because of what's inside you." Jace shook his head. "I don't understand." She looked at him again, eyes glowing brighter now, as if something inside her had awakened. "You will," she said. "But first, you must live." Then she pressed something into his hand. A crystal shard, humming with alien energy. "I failed my mission," she whispered. "Now I serve a new one." He opened his palm and stared at the shard. "What are you?" She turned her back to him. "I am the weapon meant to kill you. Now I'm your only shield." And before he could ask another question, The station shook out an explosion. More of them were coming, and now she was standing between him and the door, facing them, protecting him. Something had changed. She had seen something. But what? And why did she care? He didn't know yet, but he was about to find out. Jace crouched behind a thick beam, heart pounding as the station shook again. Dust fell from the ceiling like snow. The alien woman, his former assassin, stood calmly in front of the shattered door, blade drawn, eyes glowing brighter than before. She didn't move, didn't speak. Footsteps echoed through the hallway. Not human. Too heavy. Too fast. Then came the sound like metal grinding bone. The same sound that had followed every attack across the colonies. Jace clenched the strange crystal shard she had given him. It vibrated in his palm, warm and alive. She turned slightly, looking at him. Stay down. The door burst inward. 3 tall shapes entered, hunched and armored in thick bone-like plates. They had no visible eyes, just twitching tendrils around their heads and long clawed arms. Their mouths were vertical slits filled with needle teeth. They were the reason the colonies fell. Jace had never seen one this close and lived. One of them screeched, a sound that rattled the walls. The alien woman didn't flinch. Instead, she stepped forward and whispered something in a language Jace didn't understand. The creatures paused, sniffed. Then one lunged at her with a guttural snarl. She moved like lightning, her blade cut in a wide arc, slicing through the creature's neck. Green blood sprayed across the wall. The second beast leapt, claws extended, but she twisted beneath its arm, slamming her elbow into its chest and flipping it over. The third one charged. Too fast. She raised her arm, but not in time. Jace jumped forward. He didn't think. He acted. Grabbing a steel bar from the ground, he swung it with all his weight. The metal cracked against the beast's side. It roared in pain and turned toward him. Mistake. In that instant, she drove her blade through its spine from behind. It dropped. Silence returned. Jace stumbled back, breathing hard. The assassin looked at him. Her lips moved slightly, as if confused. You fought. He leaned against the wall. I'm not good at watching others die. Her eyes lingered on him for a moment too long. Your kind was never supposed to resist, she said softly. Then she knelt beside one of the fallen creatures and pulled a strange device from its chest round. Metallic, blinking red. She tossed it to Jace. Tracker. They will send more. Great, Jace muttered, pocketing the device. What are these things? She stood. They are called the Varnak, hive war species, created for hunting. Their minds are linked. They do not stop. And you used to work for them? He asked, eyeing her. She shook her head. No, I worked for the ones who control them. Jace frowned. So why me? Why are they after me? She hesitated. Because of what's hidden in your blood. He stared at her, confused. I'm just a man, he said. A soldier. A mechanic before that. No, she said. You are something more. Not by choice, but by accident. You survived something you shouldn't have. Something ancient. She walked toward him slowly. When I saw your scar, I recognized the pattern. That mark was made by a blade older than both our worlds. One that only touches chosen hosts. He looked down at the line on his chest. He had gotten it during a fight years ago, a plasma burn from a forgotten battlefield. He always thought it was random. You mean this isn't just a scar? She nodded. It's a signal. Your body holds dormant code. Buried knowledge. And someone or something wants it. He stepped back, confused. What happens if they get it? Her face darkened. They will unlock something that should never be found. The war you see now will look like a spark compared to the fire they plan to start. The station creaked again, a faint Rhythmic thudding echoed through the floor. More enemies coming. Jace looked at the door, then at her. So what now? You gonna keep protecting me? I have no choice, she said. The moment I saw thee, Mark, my mission changed. I was not sent only to kill you. I was also to confirm if the signal was real. And if it was? He asked. Then I was supposed to bring your body back, she said flatly. Jace raised his eyebrows. That's comforting. She turned away. Now we must escape this place. There's a ship buried under the ruins, an old stealth prototype. He grabbed a medkit from the corner. Lead the way. As they moved through the ruined station, something strange happened. Jace noticed her slowing down for him, helping him over rubble, watching his back. She wasn't like before, cold and efficient. Something was shifting in her behavior. She kept glancing at him as if expecting something, or maybe remembering something. They reached a dark corridor, lights flickering overhead. The ship was just beyond this tunnel. She paused, hand on the wall. Why did you really stop yourself? Jace asked behind her. Back when you could have killed me. She didn't answer right away. Then finally, she whispered without turning around. Because when I looked into your eyes, I remembered who I used to be. And then she kept walking, disappearing into the dark. Jace followed, holding the glowing shard. Tighter than ever. Something was happening, and the war had only just begun. The hidden ship was deeper than Jace expected. They moved through a ruined tunnel filled with dust, cracked wires, and the silence of a battlefield long forgotten. The woman, he still didn't know her name, walked ahead, blade drawn, every movement sharp and careful. Even in this mess, she was calm. Like she had done this hundreds of times. Jace kept the glowing shard in his pocket, its warmth pulsing against his chest. His mind buzzed with questions. What did she mean by, what's inside you? Why him? Why now? Is the ship even flyable? He asked. It was buried here during the last conflict. My people abandoned it. I restored it in secret after my mission began. In case, she paused, looking back at him, I failed. So you planned for failure? No, I planned for choice. That answer gave him chills. They turned a corner. A large blast door stood at the end, marked with strange alien letters. She placed her hand on a scanner. The wall hummed. Lights flickered on, then the door groaned open slowly, revealing a small hangar carved into the rock. In the center, under a camo tarp, was a sleek black vessel. Compact, deadly. Silent. Jace whistled. That's no cargo ship. She approached it. It's a Phantom-class Shadowhawk. Stealth, zero trace, cloaking tech. Only a few were ever made. Built for deep infiltration. Jace looked at her. You plan to escape alone. I plan to survive. She entered the ship first. Jace hesitated at the ramp, then stepped. Inside, the ship felt alive. Blue lights ran across the walls, and the hum of dormant power flowed through the floor. She sat at the control panel, fingers dancing over the holograms. Reactor is cold. Give me 5 minutes. Jace walked to the side bay. He found rations, weapons, and an old med station. It smelled like oil and dust. He turned back toward her. I still don't know your name. She didn't respond immediately. Then said, Zura. He nodded. I'm Jace. If you didn't already know, I did. He sat on a crate. Why me, Zura? What makes me so important that these monsters, Varnak, right, would burn worlds just to find me? She sighed. Because you're human. And humans? We're never supposed to survive contact with the core flame. He blinked. What's the core flame? She looked at him for a long moment. Then she stood, walked to him, and slowly reached toward his chest. May I? She asked. Jace nodded. She gently placed her fingers over his old scar. right where the shard had glowed before. Then she closed her eyes. A faint pulse spread from her hand. Suddenly, Jace felt warmth shoot through him deep, like it was coming from inside his bones. Images flashed behind his eyes, stars spinning, a red sun exploding, a blade forged from white fire. He gasped, falling back, breaking contact. What the hell was that? Zura's eyes were wide. You've touched the core. I didn't touch anything. That's scars from a plasma blade. She shook her head. No ordinary plasma. That weapon was made from the first flame, a relic from before memory. Anyone who touches it dies or changes. And I changed? He asked, still breathing hard. Your body adapted. Absorbed part of the flame signature. Your cells. Hide its code now. That's why they want you. He stared at her. To unlock this flame? Zura nodded. To rebuild it. To use it. The Varnak are tools, but their masters, the Syndicate, want a weapon that can reshape space, rewrite time. Jace ran a hand through his hair. That's insane. Zura's expression hardened. And now, they know you're still alive. The ship shook. A deep, rumbling blast echoed outside the hangar. Jace ran to the viewport. Black shapes moved outside the tunnel. At least a dozen. They're here. He shouted. Zura moved fast. She jumped to the control panel and activated the reactor. The ship trembled as lights flared to life. We have 60 seconds before the hangar is overrun. Another explosion rocked the walls. Jace grabbed a pulse rifle from the locker. I'm not going down easy. Zura didn't argue. She opened a side hatch and fired into the rubble with a mounted turret, scattering incoming Varnak. Launch path is blocked. I'll hold them while you clear the exit tunnel. You're not going alone, Jace said. But she looked back at him, something different in her eyes. Trust me, she said. I didn't spare you just to watch you die. Jace clenched the rifle and sprinted toward the upper corridor to clear the launch tunnel. As he ran, the glowing shard in his pocket flared brighter than ever. Something ancient was awakening inside him, and the universe was watching. Jace ran through the side corridor, boots slamming against metal and rock. The tunnel was narrow, broken in places and half filled with collapsed debris. His hands gripped the pulse rifle tightly, and the crystal shard in his pocket pulsed like a heartbeat. It felt like it was guiding him, pushing him towards something. Behind him, the hangar rumbled again. Zura's turret fired in bursts. She was buying him time, risking her life for someone she was sent to kill. He never expected that. He reached the blocked launch shaft. A giant metal gate hung crooked, half embedded in the stone. Jagged beams and shattered support struts jammed the track. The ship would never launch through that mess. Jace scanned quickly. There, an old control box, half crushed, blinking red. He dropped the rifle, ran to the panel, and tore it open. Wires sparked. The system was dead. No power. Come on, he muttered. He reached into his pocket and pulled out the glowing shard. It pulsed brighter now, humming with warmth. Without fully understanding why, Jace pressed it against the broken control panel. A shockwave rippled through the air. The lights flickered, then roared to life. The panel glowed blue. The gate above groaned as ancient gears began to grind. Sparks flew as the metal started to rise, shaking dust from the ceiling. What the hell are you? Jace whispered to the shard. No answer came. Just that strange warmth again, like the shard was aware. Suddenly, a hiss echoed behind him. Jace spun. Rifle up. Two Varnak crawled from the rubble. One screeched, its tendrils twitching wildly. They charged. He fired. The first shot hit center mass, making the creature stumble, but not stop. The second one leapt. Jace rolled to the side, hitting the ground hard. The rifle slid from his hands. One of the beasts lunged again. Jace reached for anything. His fingers closed around a broken pipe. He swung wildly, bashing the creature in the jaw. It reeled back, hissing. Then from above came a flash of blue dot. Zura dropped down like lightning, blade spinning in her hand. She landed between Jace and the monsters. One swing, one blur, and the first. Varnak's head hit the ground. The second tried to flee. Zura stabbed it through the spine without looking. She turned to Jace. "You cleared the tunnel?" He nodded, breathless. "The shard?" It powered. "The controls. The gates opening." She looked at the shard, eyes narrowing slightly. "It responds to you faster now." Jace picked up his rifle. "Feels like it's learning," Zura nodded. "The core inside you is waking up." Another explosion shook the tunnel. She looked toward the hangar. "More of them. We need to move." They ran back toward the ship. Flames danced along the walls now. The hangar had become a war zone. The outer wall was cracked wide open. Varnak poured in, clawing, shrieking, charging. Zura didn't slow. She leapt into the pilot seat. "Jace, weapon bay, right side. Keep them back until we lift." Jace jumped in, mounted the cannon turret, and took aim. Varnak filled the entrance. He fired. Blue plasma shots exploded into their ranks. Creatures flew back, limbs torn, but more kept coming. Zura's hands moved across the panel. Engines coming online. Just a few seconds. Jace kept shooting. His arms ached, his vision blurred. But he didn't stop. Then the floor shook. With a roar, the Shadowhawk lifted off. The ship hovered. Engines screaming. "Launch path clear," Zura called. Jace fired one last blast into the horde, then pulled back into the ship as Zura hit the thrusters. The Shadowhawk shot forward like a bullet. They flew through the launch tunnel, out into the open night sky of Atheris 4. Below them, the ruined station burned. The red clouds lit up with explosions. Enemy ships swarmed in the distance, but none fast enough to follow. They were free. For now. Jace slumped into a chair. "We made it." Zura didn't answer. She sat in silence for a moment, watching the stars rush past through the VIEWPORT. Then she said, "They won't stop." Jace nodded. "I know." She turned to him. "You still don't understand what you carry. Then tell me." Zura stood, walking to him. She reached into a side locker and pulled out a small, black device. "This," she said, "is a memory prism. It contains a vision of the war to come. But only someone with the core signal can unlock it." She held it out. Jac took it. It felt heavy, cold, real. "What happens when I unlock it?" he asked. Zura looked away. "You see the truth." He stared at the prism. The war, the flame, the Varnak, the scar on his chest. It was all connected. And now, the answers were just one memory away. Jace stared at the black memory prism in his hand. Its surface was smooth and dark, but deep inside, something shimmered like starlight trapped in glass. He could feel it pulsing gently, just like the shard in his pocket. Both were connected, to him. Zura watched him closely. "You must activate it. You need to see." He held it tightly. "What if I don't like what I see?" She looked away. "You won't." Jace swallowed hard. He raised the prism, pressed his thumb against the center. A sharp sting shot through his hand. The prism glowed. Then it exploded in light. He gasped as everything around him vanished. The ship, Zura, the stars. All gone. He was standing somewhere else now. Floating. In a sea of burning sky. Before him stretched a battlefield massive beyond words. Thousands of ships clashed in orbit. On the surface below, alien armies fought with fire and blade. One figure stood at the center, a warrior cloaked in white fire, holding a sword made of living light. His face was hidden, but Jace felt something. Strange. The man moved like Jace, fought like Jace, and then the warrior turned, and Jace saw his own face, but older, sharper, marked by war. The memory shifted again. Now, Jace stood in front of a council beings from across the galaxy. A tall, insectoid creature spoke. The flame must be locked. It is too dangerous. Another alien voice responded, and bind it to the blood of one who will never remember. The scene blurred. Now he saw an ancient ritual. A glowing sword was shattered. Pieces scattered across the stars. One shard flew into a blue world Earth, and entered a newborn baby. Jace gasped. It was him. The vision shattered. He fell back into reality. The prism turned to ash. In his hand, Zura was kneeling beside him. You saw it, he nodded slowly. The core flame. I was born with it. But they erased the memory. You were the last choice, she said softly. A hidden seed. Earth was far from the war. Safe. He shook his head. And now I'm not. No, Zura said. Now you are the spark they all fear. He stood slowly, the weight of truth pressing on his chest. So that's why they hunt me. I'm the only one left with the code to unlock the flame. Zura nodded. But why do you care? He asked her suddenly. You're not human. You were sent to kill me. She was silent for a long time. Then she spoke quietly. Because I once saw a world burned by the flame. I watched my sister melt to ash. I believe no one should carry that power. Her voice trembled. But when I saw you, bleeding, weak, still trying to protect others, I realized you're not like them. You weren't born for war. You were born to stop it. Jace didn't know what to say. The ship's alarms beeped softly. Zura turned to the controls. We're approaching orbit of Skaruan's Edge. There's a contact waiting. Skaruan's Edge? Jace asked. An outlaw station. If anyone knows where the other shards of the flame are hidden, it's there. He blinked. There are more shards? She nodded. The flame was split. If they gather all the pieces, they'll have enough power to bend space, control time, or end stars. Jace rubbed his temples. Great. So now we're racing against galactic killers to stop the apocalypse. Zura gave a faint smile. Now you understand. The Shadowhawk exited light speed and slowed as they reached Skaruan's Edge. It wasn't a planet, it was an asteroid city, floating in rings of broken metal and rock. Ships of every shape swarmed around it, entering glowing ports, bartering weapons, slaves, tech. No rules, no peace. This place looks like trouble, Jace muttered. It is, Zora said. But we need the one who lives in the Iron Spire. Whose? That? She paused. Someone who remembers the First War. Someone like you. As they docked, Zura handed Jace a cloaking device. Keep your identity hidden. If anyone learns what you are, we won't make it out alive. Jace clipped the device to his wrist. It shimmered, turning his face into a dull, forgettable shape. Zura pulled her hood low. They stepped out into the chaos of Skaruan's Edge. Every step was a risk. The crowd was loud, wild, dangerous, and somewhere in the shadows, someone was already watching them. Jace walked beside Zura. Through the smoke-filled corridors of Skaruan's Edge, the outlaw station stank of oil, sweat, and rusted metal. Shady creatures passed by, each stranger than the last, some with glowing eyes, others with 6 arms or floating tech rings around their necks. No one trusted anyone here. He kept his hood low, his pulse steady. The cloaking device worked well. No one seemed to recognize him. But he still felt watched. Zura led him deeper into the maze-like alleys until they reached a tall tower of black iron. It looked old, like it had survived 1,000 battles and still refused to fall. At its base was a locked gate. guarded by two massive cyber beasts with chains for tails and glowing fangs. Zura stepped forward. "We seek the Archivist. Tell him the Silent Blade has come." The creatures growled but didn't attack. After a pause, the door creaked open. Inside, the tower was quiet. Walls were lined with ancient weapons and dusty scrolls. It smelled of metal and memory. A low hum buzzed in the air, like the place itself was alive. A figure sat on a throne of wires and bone. He was neither man nor machine, something in between. His face was covered with cables, and his eyes glowed green. He didn't move as they entered. "I remember you," he said slowly, voice echoing like wind in a cave. "Zura of the Eclipsed Order, last survivor of the Oran campaign." Zura bowed her head. "I seek truth?" The Archivist chuckled. "No one comes here for truth. They come for secrets." She motioned to Jace. "He carries the core. The flame sleeps inside him." For the first time, the Archivist looked directly at Jace. He smiled. "A human?" he said. "So they did it after all." Jace stepped forward. "You know about the flame?" "I remember the flame," the Archivist whispered. "I fought in the Great Burn. I saw entire suns collapse under its power. I saw friends and enemies both beg for mercy when the core flared." He rose slowly from his throne. "You, boy, are a vessel of ancient war. And the war is not done." Jace clenched his jaw. "Then help me stop it." The Archivist raised a hand and a hologram lit up the room. Stars, planets, then 5 glowing points. "The shards of the flame," he said, "scattered across space. If you wish to stop the Syndicate, you must find the other pieces before they do." He pointed to one shard far on the edge of the map. "This one lies beneath the sea of glass on Varela 9, guarded by those who no longer live, dead things that walk." Jay stared. "And the others?" "Lost, forgotten, or hidden in plain sight," the Archivist said. "But the more you awaken the flame, the more it will awaken." "Them?" Zura stepped forward. "Who are they?" The Archivist's voice lowered. "They are the first ones, the ones who made the Varnuk, the ones who created the flame, and they want it back." Suddenly, alarms blared across the tower. The Archivist turned his head. "Too late. They're here." The walls shook. Explosions rocked the city outside. Lights flickered. Jace grabbed his weapon. "Who?" The Archivist looked grim. "The Black Varnuk, elite hunters. They never stop." Zura activated her blade. "We fight." The Archivist opened a secret door behind his throne. "No, you run. I will buy you time." Jace hesitated. "Why help us?" The old being looked at him with glowing eyes. "Because I once failed to stop the flame, you might succeed." The door slid open. Zura grabbed Jace's arm and pulled him inside. Behind them, the Archivist faced the approaching storm. They ran through the hidden passage, winding beneath the tower. Lights blinked red. Above them, the sounds of battle grew louder. Explosions, roars, screams. Zura pushed open a hatch. "We're near the Eastport." If we reach the Shadowhawk, a figure dropped in front of them, tall, jet black armor, eyes like twin red stars. The black Varnok.Jace raised his weapon, but the assassin was faster. It moved like smoke, dodging the blast and striking Jace across the chest. He hit the wall hard. Zura jumped in, blades flashing. Steel clashed with claw. Sparks flew. Jace coughed, struggling to breathe. The shard in his pocket pulsed hard. Pain flared in his head. Images, voices, power. He screamed, and the shard erupted in light. The hallway lit up white. The Varnuk paused. Zura leapt forward and stabbed its throat. The beast fell. Jace collapsed. Glowing faintly, eyes wide. Zura knelt beside him. The flame inside you. It's waking. He looked at his hands, glowing with soft blue fire. I didn't do anything, he said, shaking. Zura touched his cheek. You don't need to. It's choosing you. Behind them, the tower burned, and the real war was coming closer with every breath. Asterisk smoke filled the sky behind them as Jace and Zura ran through the lower streets of Skaruan's Edge. The station shook from explosions above. Sirens wailed. Fighters screamed past the broken rooftops. The Black Varnock had arrived in force, but they weren't chasing just anyone. They were hunting him. Jace clutched his side, his skin still glowing faintly with blue fire. The shard in his pocket pulsed like a second heartbeat. Every step felt heavier now, like something inside him was waking up too fast. Zur, it kept him steady. Just a little more. The ship's close. They turned a corner and reached the landing bay. The Shadowhawk stood waiting, engine lights pulsing, hatch open. Then 3. Varnock dropped from above, blades drawn. Claws ready. Jace raised his rifle. Zura stepped in front of him, blades humming. No more running, she said. The fight was brutal. Zura moved with lightning speed, blocking claws, striking fast. She cut one Varnock down in seconds, but the others were stronger, faster. One knocked her back into a wall. Jace fired, hitting. The second creature in the leg dot roared and leapt at him. He raised the rifle again, but it was too late. The Varnock lunged and stopped mid-dash. Frozen.jace didn't understand at first. Then he looked at his own hands. They were glowing, not faintly. Fully blue fire surged across his arms, wrapping his fingers, his chest, his eyes. The Varnock screamed and fell to the ground, smoking, burning from within. The last one ran. Zura stared, eyes wide. You called the flame without meaning to. Jace felt like his chest was on fire, but it didn't hurt. It felt right. I didn't mean to do anything, he said. You don't have to, she said. It's becoming you. They rushed into the Shadowhawk. The hatch closed behind them. Jace dropped into the co-pilot seat, still shaking. Zura took the controls. We can't stay here. If they find this station holds another shard, Jace turned to her. Wait, there's another shard here? She nodded slowly. The archivist didn't just give you information. He gave you the next piece. She reached into her cloak and held out a small metallic cube, black and red, flickering with energy. Jace took it. As soon as his fingers touched it, it glowed blue, merging with the shard already inside his body. He gasped. Memories rushed into his mind, memories that weren't his. Ancient battles, alien stars, and the sound of a voice calling his name, not in fear, but in hope. Zura watched him carefully. There's one last shard. The core piece, the heart. Jace blinked. Where is it? She paused. Inside the enemy. His heart dropped. You mean? Yes, she said. The Syndicate kept it. Embedded in their prime hunter. The one who created the Varnock. If he fuses it with what you carry, he will control everything. Jace stood slowly. Then I have to stop him. Zura turned her seat to face him. I was trained to kill you. I believed you were dangerous, but now I see. You're the only one strong enough to end this. Jace looked out the window at the stars. I'm not special, Zura. I'm just human. She smiled. That's why you're strong. He gave a weak laugh. You believe in me now? I never believed in anything before, she said. But I do now. He placed his hand over hers. Then let's finish it. Together. Zura nodded, eyes softening. She turned back to the controls. Plotting course to the Syndicate core ship. No stealth. No games. We go straight to the heart. Jace sat back, eyes burning with purpose. As the Shadowhawk jumped into hyperspace, the flame inside him settled not with fear, but readiness. The core ship floated above a black hole, ringed by lightning storms and metal spires. A fortress. Untouchable. But it shook as the Shadowhawk arrived. They came down hard straight into the storm. Fighters swarmed, but the flame in Jace's body flared. He stepped to the ship's edge and raised his hand. Blue fire spread across the hull, and the enemy ship simply stopped, then turned and left. Zura stared. They sense it now. The flame knows its master. They entered the prime chamber. A towering figure waited 10 feet tall, armored in obsidian metal. The prime hunter. Its voice echoed. You are the final piece, human. Come, let us complete the cycle. Jace stepped forward, but he didn't attack. He opened his hands. I won't use this to destroy. The flame burned brighter. The prime hunter screamed and charged. Zura leapt between them, but the flame exploded outward from Jace, surrounding the room in blue light. Everything stopped. Jace stepped through the fire and touched the enemy's chest. No more war. The flame tore the shard from the creature, and it fell lifeless. It was over. Later, aboard the Shadowhawk, Zura sat beside Jace in silence. He looked at her. So, what now? She smiled. Now you live. And for the first time, Jace believed he truly could.